Hi, more Cowbell, Mississippi State Podcast, SEC Country. I'm Brandon Walker. Here we are, doing great on a Saturday, a Sunday, whatever today is. Monday. I was about to talk about what happened Saturday. Today's Monday, right? That's how the days of the week go. It is President's Day. Yep, sure is President's Day. My kids are out of school. Who knew? Who knew they got out of school for President's Day in Georgia? Well, they do, and they're out. And they're all at home wrecking my house. Now, we'll talk about, got a lot to go over today. SEC champs, Mississippi State women's basketball, gets their hardware. They get their trophy, the first one of hopefully several this year. I would say there are 3 championships we'd like to win. The SEC championship, the SEC tournament championship, and how about a national championship? We have gotten one of those 3 trophies so far, and the rest maybe are coming soon. We'll see. We'll definitely see. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about men's basketball as they continue to try to push forward. They went ahead and ended the Andy Kennedy era. There was an international altercation on Saturday as State just blew Ole Miss's doors off and won that game quite easily. And now Andy Kennedy no longer the coach of the Ole Miss Rebels, and Ben Howland still the coach of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Everything looking up there. And now we'll also talk very, very briefly about baseball. Yeah, we might want to do over on that one. That didn't go so well. That didn't go so hot. We'll have a 2-minute drill at the end of the show, and then we'll to talk about all this, we'll have Will Salmon, the Clarion Ledger beat writer for Mississippi State. He'll be on the show. Probably one of the best beat writers to come down the pipe in a long time for Mississippi State. I know a lot of you don't like the Clarion Ledger. Can't say that I'm in love with that paper either, but I do think he does a fantastic job. He is a great beat writer, and if you follow Mississippi State, then you have got somebody very talented to give you the information. Wade Glass on the Facebook Live says we got a JUCO recruit. Yes, we did. Jeffrey Shisumpa is how I'm saying the name. Not Jeffrey. Jethro. How did that name? How did I get the last name? Anyway, Jethro Shisumpa, who once went to Arizona State, then transferred to JUCO. 6'10" center, shot blocker. We'll talk about that later. Don't panic on baseball, says Bill Hurt. Definitely, I will not panic on baseball. I do not panic in baseball. I either care when they're winning or don't care when they're losing. So I will not panic. That's a very easy sport for me to put aside if it doesn't go well. Now, but you're right. The overall message there is right. You can't panic. You can't freak out. It's one weekend. There are many weekends in the season. There are many games. They'll have plenty of opportunities to turn it around. Early returns aren't good, but they're also early return. Good morning from Drury Sulligent. It's dreary everywhere. It is just miserable looking outside here. Feels nice. It's 70 degrees. It's just miserable. Hello, St. Louis. Zach Dickerson says he's a little panicked on baseball. And I understand that. I mean, nobody wanted to go down to Southern Miss and go 0-3. Nobody wanted to go down there and never lead in a game. Yeah. Zach Dickerson says Southern Miss got sweet revenge on us. Well, they got revenge. I don't know how sweet it was. Would you rather beat a team in June or would you rather beat them in February? I think that's a fairly easy question to answer. Hello, St. Amant, Louisiana. Hello, Stan C. Riddle. Hello, Jeremiah Body. Joshua Watts is in Denver. Before we go any further, hey, can you get my picture ready, Landshark? Just want to talk to you guys. We're all family here, right? We're all family. We're all tight. You know, there are no secrets here. So I went out to dinner with my wife on Friday night for Valentine's Day. That's what you do. You go out for Valentine's Day. We went out 2 days later. And so I put a Twitter. I've never done this. So I tweeted out a picture of myself and my wife eating dinner. And go ahead and throw that picture up. And what followed, there we are. What followed was some answers on Twitter. I had to put it on Facebook too. And there was answers on Twitter from fans and Facebook. And they were saying things like Beauty and the Beast. They were saying, wow, married way up. What's that person doing with that person? And this Beauty and the Beast talk, it got me thinking, and it really upset me. Guys, my wife is not that ugly. She's not. She is not a beast. And I just don't feel like I'm not going to sit here and let you insult my wife like that. Now, I know I'm more attractive. I know that. I know that I'm the more attractive of the two people. I've lived with that for 12 years. I understand. But Beauty and the Beast, that's just going too far. And yeah, she married up, but you don't have to keep saying it. You don't have to keep saying it. What are you laughing at, Terp?
Nothing.
Yeah, okay. Good, nothing. All right, you can take my picture down. It's just not right, you know? Why would you say Beauty and the Beast? I mean, she's not that ugly. She tries? No, nothing? Okay. Even I get to work today, and I show Landshark the picture. I say, hey, we're going to use that. And she looks at me, and she goes, that's your wife? Really? Really? I mean, yeah, that's my wife. No, I'm putting pictures of another woman on Twitter. Yes, that's my wife. And yes, she is beautiful. And yes, she is more good looking than I am. But I have a great personality and a lot of money. All right. Okay. We will talk women's basketball. We'll talk men's basketball. Probably it's just amazing to me that we lead with women's basketball. I mean, it's not amazing because they deserve it. It's just amazing because of where it came from. 5 years ago, nobody watched women's basketball at Mississippi State. 10 years ago, nobody watched it. But now it's like we live it. We breathe it. It's amazing. And this guy, this Vic Schaefer, man, somebody said on Twitter, we need to give him a lifetime contract. We need to lock him down for further than that. We need to give him and his daughter a lifetime contract. And if she were to have kids, go ahead and lock that kid in for a lifetime contract. Can we do that? Glenn Duncan says, personality, laugh out loud. I don't, these jokes. I have a great personality and a lot of money. Deborah Chant says, you are full of yourself today. We know who runs your household. I'd say I'm full of that every day, full of something every day. Terp, you going to call my man? You going to call Will Salmon once we get this party started?
Yeah.
We'll have Will Salmon from Clarion Ledger. We'll talk basketball. We'll do all that fun stuff. He has a nice perspective. Again, if you're following Mississippi State sports, you need to be following that guy because that's the beat writer for Mississippi State right now. There are other guys out there that do good work, but he just far and away is out. He's just outstanding. He's outstanding. All right, you guys ready? Got a thumbs up from her. Got a thumbs up, and you just look inconvenienced right now. Terp, you're in a mood today?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm chilling.
You just seem like you're
Are you in a mood today?
Nah, not really.
Neither am I.
I didn't want to get up today. It's a good day to sleep in.
I actually kind of got up early.
Did you? What time did you get up?
Oatmeal. Like 8:20. That's pretty. That's early.
All right. Play my music.
The More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, Brandon Walker. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. You know how I remembered that? Because that right there. They had to write me a note. They had to put it on the cowbells so I would ring the bell to start the show. But I did it. I remembered. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Brandon Walker coming to you from the SEC Country studios here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to talk about women's basketball today. Why wouldn't we? Mississippi State wins the SEC championship. They go out, they beat whoever they beat. They beat Texas A&M. Just beat them down. Just started 11-0. Just beat them down, choked them out. Mississippi State wins the SEC championship outright. Still with 2 games to go in the regular season. That's how dominant they've been this year. Went ahead and finished that off. Men's basketball still trending in the right direction. They beat Ole Miss to sleep on Saturday. They chased Andy Kennedy out of town. And great. I like where they're going. I like where they're headed. Baseball, not so much. Not so much. We might need a do-over on baseball. We might need to go back to the drawing board and go under the hood and fix a couple of things and try to get back out on the road. We'll have Will Salmon of the Clarion Ledger to talk about all this stuff today. We'll talk basketball with Will Salmon. He is the beat writer for Mississippi State at the Clarion Ledger. He does a fantastic job. I think he's one of the best beat writers we've had in a long time. We'll take to him in just a second, and we'll have a 2-minute drill at the end of the show. We will have a 2-minute drill for you guys to interact with me, and we'll have a good time. But before then, let's go ahead and get started. Women's basketball wins the SEC championship in front of 10,000 people at the Humphrey Coliseum. One of those 10,000, he was paid to be there, is the Clarion Ledger's outstanding beat writer, Mr. Will Salmon. Will, thank you for joining the show.
Hey, Brandon. Thanks for having me on, man.
Be a little bit more excited, Will. You just watched an SEC championship yesterday, man. Loosen up.
This is about as excited as I get.
That's 6. No. All right. All right. We're off to a roaring start here with Will Salmon. Listen, man, first things first. Mississippi State wins the SEC championship in front of 10,000 people. You know, I look at this thing in amazement. I just never watch this team without being amazed. Did you ever think when you were in journalism school you'd be covering a women's basketball game that gets 10,000 people repeatedly into that building?
Nope. Can't say that I ever thought of that, because the first thing I actually covered in journalism, I was a student at Queens College, and the first beat I ever had was Division II women's basketball at the school. And they had maybe 5 or 6 fans at these games at best. And it was a pretty solid Division II school, Division II team. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen unless you put out to borrow a line from Vic Schaefer, a product that people want to see. And if you're a basketball fan, there's no better product right now than Mississippi State basketball as far as the SEC goes. I mean, they just, every day is the same. And it's like you expect them at this point to win, not only win, but win by a lot. You know, like last night, Texas A&M is a pretty good team. I mean, the team is in the top 20 in both polls. Very good, high-scoring team, rebounds tremendously well, and they just looked like they didn't even belong in the same court. And that's a testament to, obviously, the work that Mississippi State has put into this year, and the fact that these players have really bought in every day to what Vic Schaefer wants them to execute.
So I'll skip ahead a little bit. State wins the SEC championship. Now they got to play the SEC tournament, a couple more games in the regular season. But 2 years ago, UConn beats Mississippi State by 60. Last year, Mississippi State pulls the iconic upset. This year, man, doesn't it feel like these two undefeated teams are just on a straight collision course for each other, and it would almost be a disappointment for both if they didn't meet at this point?
Oh, definitely. I don't think anybody wants to see what Baylor versus Mississippi State or Baylor versus UConn, or no disrespect to Baylor, but from this perspective, sure. I mean, it really would be super cool to see for the third time, like you said, these two teams go at it, and also because they're very similar, I think, if you look at it. Like, last year, Mississippi State was more of the defensive team. This year, they're more of an offensive team. High tempo, three-point shooting, all that type of stuff. So, I mean, and both teams also run, 5, 6, 7 players tops. So they're kind of similar, more similar than they were last year. So, yeah, I mean, it would definitely be a huge disappointment if they did not link up, at least in the Final Four. It's not the championship.
Texas A&M coach Gary Blair quoted after the game saying this is a better team than they were last year. I think the answer to that question, you just said it, they're more offensive. But the reason they're more offensive is Victoria Vivians has gone from a good player to one of the maybe 5 or 10 best players in the country. She has completely changed her game to somebody that you could depend on for scoring, to somebody who does a little bit of everything, takes good shots. What have you seen the difference between junior Victoria Vivians and senior?
It was crazy, Brandon, because if this was football, we'd have people writing about Victoria Vivians every day with how much she has improved, how good she is, and we would be having discussions on whether or not she's the SEC Player of the Year over Asia Wilson at South Carolina, which can make a strong argument either way. And at this point, I would vote for Victoria Vivians. But I mean, it's just the difference between her and last year. Man, it's like, where do you begin? Last year, this same week, she shot 5 for 35 in over 2 games last year, and she was really struggling. And a lot of that was just because of really bad shot selection, and she just wasn't playing a whole lot of good defense either. this year she moves to the 4 position, and she's just a nightmare matchup. No post player can do anything with her. She's too quick. She's too good inside. She made one spin move yesterday that was just, jaw-dropping to push State's lead up to, I think, around 10 at that point, and then A&M they cut it to 6. So that was a big shot, so that's why it sticks out. But, yeah, I mean, her shot selection, like you said, is just vastly improved. She's rebounding. She cares. She cares so much. And I don't know, I don't want to pretend to be in somebody's head, and pretend to know what they're thinking, but just from the way it seems, it just looks like she just cares so much this year. Not to say that she didn't care last year, but I don't know. It's something that I'm working on, like, for a story down the road, but it's just so different. It's just visibly different, the way she carries herself on the court. And I'll say this also, she really looks like she's having fun this year, too, and I think that's been critical for her. Here's a player who came in here as, the top player of all time almost at the high school level, and all those expectations all ready to leave before she steps foot on campus. So I get it. I mean, I get the stress, the pressure, all that type of stuff. It seems like this year she's just having a lot more fun, and the switch to the 4 position also helped out as well.
We are talking to Will Salmon, the beat writer for Mississippi State for the Clarion Ledger. You can see his picture on screen. Yes, he does look like an extra in a bad 80s military movie. That's fine. Let's just get past that. But he's a terrific beat writer. One more question about women's basketball, Will. Mississippi State's going into the NCAA tournament this year as the hunted and not the hunter. How much do you think that changes things? And I'm sure Vic Schaefer will have them ready. It's just going to be different this year, isn't it?
A little bit, but, man, this team just rises to the occasion, because last year on their senior night they had that huge let-up against Tennessee where they got blown out really at home, which never happens. And they've had big games this year. They had the game against South Carolina at Humphrey Coliseum, took care of business there. They went on the road to beat Missouri, went on the road to beat Tennessee. So they've had some pretty big games already this year. So I think that they're a team that they just go about their business so efficiently. And so I don't think that it'll be a hindrance at all. I don't think it's something to really worry about. It definitely is different, but this team has the right sort of mindset, the right sort of attitude to not allow that to be a factor.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Women's basketball has been elite for a couple of years now at Mississippi State, and men's basketball trying to get there. They are trying to get back to the standards of the 2000s, of the 90s, and they're getting there. Slowly but surely, they are getting there. What has been the difference? A 17-point win over Ole Miss the other day, so I think now they're 19-8, 7-7 in the league. I think that's right. They are in the bubble discussion, not in the tournament right now, maybe not even on the next 4 out or next 4 out, but they're in the bubble discussion. What's been the difference for this team this year?
The offense has really caught up to the defense, because the defense has always been there for this team. Since the beginning of the season, this has been one of the top defensive teams in the country. And that's not that's not an exaggeration. No, it's legitimately a top 25, top 30 defense in the country. The offense, however, was one of the worst in the country early on this year. I mean, they couldn't buy a three-point basket. Now that has all improved, and there's a few reasons for that. Nick Weatherspoon's been tremendous lately. He's racking up double digits in scoring almost every game. I think the last time he was held to below 10 points was like a month ago against Alabama, so he's been on fire, really taking good shots. And also Lamar Peters, I mean, that's a guy who's been a facilitator, has really bought into the role of a true point guard, knows how to break down defenses, just a downhill guy into the paint, too quick for any guard, so when teams do go to zone and they can break it with their improved shooting, he's able to really create havoc in the lanes if they go to man. So those two guys, along with the steady hands of Quindary, and also, I mean, Stapleton's provided them some really quality minutes lately off the bench, and I know sometimes he can make things a little bit interesting with his antics and his frustrations on the court if things don't go so well. But I mean, I think it's a fair trade-off if he's giving you the efficiency off the bench, the defensive prowess, and now the three-point shooting for him is coming along as well.
Eric Holman has been an important piece too. He left the game against Ole Miss with some sort of injury, had an MRI yesterday. I believe you reported that it came back negative. You got anything else on that? I mean, should he be a full go against Texas A&M?
Yeah, they had some real worry if there was going to be some a meniscus issue there or something like that, but doesn't seem to be any issues. We'll talk to Ben Howland again about it on the record about an hour or two from now, to kind of get his official word on it. But from all indications, he should be ready to play, and that's obviously huge for Mississippi State because A&M is just such an imposing front court, and those guys rebound. They're big, and you're probably going to need a little bit more than Eric Holden if you're Mississippi State, but they definitely at least needed him to go along with Abdul-Adu.
You were embedded with this team for a weekend at Missouri for that game, and I got to be honest with you, as a consumer of journalism, as a consumer of your product, those are my favorite types of stories, when you get embedded and really learn about the guys, the human beings behind everything, not just the game stories, but I really love when beat writers go to this effort and do this embedded thing. So you were embedded with this team for a weekend. What was your impression about them behind the scenes? I mean, they get along? Is everything going perfectly for this team? Just what was your impression spending time around the guys?
Yes, I was there Thursday through Sunday, and I was hoping to be back home Saturday night, but I got a little bit more time with this team than I bargained for, I guess, because of their travel issues with the weather in Columbia, Missouri. But yeah, I mean, they're a pretty close team. I kind of knew that, and it's weird because like when you're on the beat, you kind of get told these things, but you never really know. You know what I mean? Like
right.
you never really for sure know exactly what's going down because practices are closed. You're not in team meetings. You're not around the team a lot. You're only allowed to talk to them when they're brought to you in like this very sterile environment. So you don't really know these guys ever,
Sure.
unless you cover them in high school, know their family, blah blah blah. But yeah, so that part was cool to kind of just see like, okay, yeah, Lamar Peters, Nick Weatherspoon, Quindary Weatherspoon, Nick Singleton, Stapleton Carter, those guys, that's a really close knit group. So you get to see that element there for your own two eyes, and you get to kind of see like how this team can sort of compartmentalize losses. And that's to me what really stuck out was, I mean, I saw them after their Missouri game, which was obviously a very controversial call and extreme bummer for Mississippi State the way that one went down. But I mean, you could see that they were affected by it, that they were obviously disappointed. But you know me, I mean, I would report it if it was the case. But like, there wasn't any like visible extreme frustration, nobody cursing or throwing things around or anything like crazy like that. So
right.
what I learned was it's a more mature team than what we were told was the case a few months ago when they were dealing with suspensions and the losses were starting to pile up and we just didn't know where this team was headed. So I wanted to see firsthand just okay, how mature is this team? Who are the leaders? How much preparation goes into this? And what's the buy-in factor with Ben Howland? So it all counts. And obviously, it's no coincidence that they're winning or playing well when they're losing. That things are in the right direction for this team and this program.
All right, Will, you are unbiased. You don't care who wins or loses. You just report the facts, right? That's who you are. That's why you're good at what you do. Let's talk about that call at Missouri, Will. Let's talk about it. All right. That was a wretched call, right? That was awful.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
Right.
It was awful. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I take a lot of pride in being unbiased, and I can just tell you that I just don't see that at all. Like, first of all, I don't know how you call it that late in the game, too. I mean, bad call. Definitely a bad call.
Yeah,
Not to say that, it wasn't the only one either, but that one was certainly a bad one.
No, stop talking about it because it's just going to make me mad all over again. You talk about the team. They didn't throw anything. They were very mature. If you'd seen me in my living room, you would have reported something entirely different. It was rough. It got physical in my living room. Last question. I need a quick answer on this because I've let you go over time. But last question. Spring football is by far the worst thing for a beat writer to cover. It's awful. And I'm not even asking you to tell me that because I'm just telling everybody out there. I've been a beat writer. Spring football, by far the worst thing you cover all year. However, this year, with Joe Moorhead, with so many players back, it seems like spring football, which starts up in about a month, is probably as exciting at Mississippi State as it's ever been. Do you get that sense too?
Definitely. There's a lot going on, too. We don't know the health of Nick Fitzgerald. Stephen Goodry is also going to be limited this spring. Bob Shoop is implementing a whole new defense. So, yeah, a lot going on. So maybe not so many position battles, but there are some big picture things that are totally new that's going to take some time. And it's very compelling going into the spring, which, like you said, is usually pretty dreadful.
All right, I got a real quick 2-minute drill for you. Real quick, 5 questions. You have to answer them as quick as possible so people can get to know you a little bit. I might have done this the last time you were on the show. I don't know. I can't remember. That was like 5 months ago. How am I supposed to remember that? So, number 1, who's your all-time favorite athlete, Will?
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. All right. Should I go with the rest of this? Should I go ahead and cut it off now? I didn't say who's the all-time most overrated athlete. I said who's your favorite athlete of all time. And you're sticking with Derek Jeter?
I'm sticking with Derek Jeter.
Why are there so many Yankees fans on the beat? Everybody's a Yankees fan on our beat.
You know, I actually grew up hating the Yankees.
Wait a minute.
Absolutely hating the Yankees. I grew up.
That doesn't make... Okay, number 2. What was your favorite cartoon as a kid?
Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold. Number 3. What's your favorite place to eat in Starkville?
Two Brothers.
Two Brothers. I think it's smoked meats. I believe that's what it is. I've never eaten there. I've heard it was good.
Wow, missing out, man.
Favorite sport to cover?
Baseball.
Really, baseball?
Baseball, man.
You love covering.
I just love sitting. And it's hot and it's humid and you're sitting there for 5 hours and you're sweating and yeah.
It is the most relaxing sport to cover because nothing happens. But I don't know. Like at football and basketball, like I can sit there and be in my own thoughts because I'm not having. But at baseball, all the other beat writers are on top of you, and you learn how big of idiots they are. I mean, you've not lived until you sat next to a sweaty Brian Haydad for 3 hours in May. You just haven't lived. Number 5, what's your favorite road trip in the SEC?
I was going to Auburn. I used to live there.
Wow, Auburn. Really, Auburn?
Yep. I know a lot of people there. Used to live there for about a year, so yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, I like Athens. I like Athens. Athens is my favorite. That's in Georgia.
It's a good place too, man. Probably a better place to be than Auburn, Alabama, but personally,
all right.
My favorite road trip.
Well, Will, listen, I appreciate you being here. It's always a pleasure to have you. Again, you do fantastic work. Please keep up the good work. Keep doing a good job, and I will keep encouraging people to read you as often as possible. Will, thank you for being here, man.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that's Will Salmon, Clarion Ledger. He does a good job. I have publicly had a lot of beef with Clarion Ledger before, but never with him. He's very good. You need to follow that guy. My last topic today was going to be baseball, but can we let's pretend that never happened? Can we all just agree that never happened? And we agree that there was a 3-game preseason series in Hattiesburg that Mississippi State went and when they worked the kinks out. Because if you consider that a regular season series, there's nothing positive to take from that. Like, I can't even think of any positives. Josh Hatcher, maybe that's the one positive. He hit the ball well from the number 2 spot, a freshman. Other than that, I guess I can't really think of one positive you can take away other than the fact that it's over. That's positive. We don't have to play Southern Miss again. So let's just move on. Let's not even worry about that. Let's not even talk about that. When the baseball team shows up to start the season, we'll talk about it. But until then, let's go ahead and take a break on it. 2-minute drill for everybody else. We did Will a very quick one. We'll do a 2-minute drill for everybody else. And how this works on the Facebook Live, you give me your answers. I'll read them on Twitter, on the podcast. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, at @bwalker_SEC to give me your answers. Number 1, if you had a jersey day at your workplace or school, which current MSU athlete are you going to wear? If you had a jersey day at your school and you had to wear one, or your work, they said you have to wear one, who are you wearing? Who are you going out and purchasing? Could be anybody. Could be Nick Fitzgerald. Could be Nick Fitzgerald. Could be Point City, Aris Williams. Could be a basketball player. I got to be honest. Would I get laughed at if I wore a Victoria Vivian's jersey? Maybe not her size. That would be a poor idea. But I could wear Tierra McCowan size. I mean, yeah, I think I could go with a Tierra McCowan jersey. KT, Mangum, Dante Jones, Fitzgerald, Pilkington, Dante Jones, Dak. I think Dak. I guess a lot of you just kind of skipped over part of the question. That's okay. A lot of you skipped over part of the question. The question was current athlete. And so maybe I didn't say current. Maybe I made a mistake. Or maybe you made a mistake. Do you ever think about that? Fitzgerald, Fitz or KT, Bubba Wilson, Jeffrey Simmons, A-Train, Montez Sweat. Yeah, these are all good answers. What would I do? I think I would probably go Point City. I'd probably go Point City with Aries Williams. Although football jerseys just aren't comfortable for me to wear. I would rather wear a basketball jersey out in public. And baseball jerseys are basically just shirts, so they look the best in public. They look the best. And I did say current. All of you, I'm being told on Facebook Live I did say current. Number 2. Everybody think. This is one of my favorite questions I've ever come up with. What's your favorite appetizer at a restaurant? What's your favorite appetizer in this entire world? What's the best appetizer you've ever had? If we might spend 20 to 30 minutes on this. What's your favorite appetizer? Oh my God. Now we ate at a place the other night, a Louisiana grill, and I had some fried crawfish tails, and they had a gumbo. Gumbo, first of all, is one of the a cup of gumbo might be the best appetizer in the world. But I'm gonna give everybody time to. But fried crawfish tails at Anthony's in West Point, incredible. What about you, Terp? What do you think?
I'm going to go crab dip.
Bacon wrapped date, says D. Curtis. Fried mushroom, says David Brown. Aussie fries from Outback. Buffalo wings. Fried pickles. Oh, fried pickles are great. Cheese sticks, says Fred Kitchens. Fried pickles. The chip cut, says Corey Dickey. The blooming onion, says Lance Chain. Chips and queso, says Kim Neely. Crab and shrimp dip from Huck's Place in Columbus. That does sound delicious. Loaded potato skins. I love loaded potato skins so much. I really love loaded potato skins. Chicken quesadilla. Crab claws are pretty great. Shannon Listenby. Shrimp and grits, says Glenn Duncan. Crab claws, says Jay Hammers. I said that already. Oh, there's multiple crab claws on here. Calamari, says Terry Geist Riddle.
A lot of crab talk.
A lot of crabs.
Go Terps.
A lot of crabs. Makes me kind of wonder about you people. Crab cakes in football. That's what Maryland does, right, Terp?
Yes, the best.
That's what they do. Good crab cakes and going 4-8 in football every year. That's exciting. Calamari. What about you, Landshark? What's your favorite appetizer ever?
Cheese. Oh. Some kind of egg roll. Southwest egg roll, maybe?
Some kind of
Those
egg
are
roll.
good.
Barbecue crawfish tails at Anthony's. See, he knows what. Terp, one day I'm going to take you to Anthony's.
Where's that?
It's in West Point, Mississippi.
All right.
It's the best restaurant
What
you've
do I
ever
get?
been to.
What am I ordering?
Huh?
What am I
Whatever
ordering
I
there?
tell you to order.
That's just what?
Number 3.
Catfish?
Number 3. Who is the best stand-up comedian ever? The best stand-up comedian ever. There's Richard Pryor. There's George Carlin. There's Bill Cosby before the felonies. There's Eddie Murphy. There's Dave Chappelle. There's Chris Rock. There's Jerry Seinfeld. There's so many. There's so many to choose from. My favorite, the one that made me laugh the hardest, probably Eddie Murphy. Although he was good as an actor too. Everybody's still talking about the food. Robin Williams, says Corey Dickey. That's a good one. He had a good stand-up. Richard Pryor is probably the best answer. Michael Clyburn says Kevin Hart. Dave Chappelle from Brian Sisk. Eddie Murphy from Kim Neely. Red Fox from Tim Franks. Red Fox was good. Johnny Carson. Yeah, people don't think of him as a stand-up, but he very much was. Wayman Hodge. Glenn Duncan says, wait, you were sitting. Oh. Rich Little. Charlie Murphy. No, nothing? Okay. Mitch Hedberg had the best one-liners. Robin Williams, Ron White, Rich Little, Brian Regan, Ron White. Tell Bill to have a Coke and a smile and shut up. That was Eddie Murphy. I think Richard Pryor might be the answer. He was pretty legendary. All right, Kevin Hart got a couple of votes. I can't really say Kevin Hart right now. I like Kevin Hart, but last night was awful. Did you see the All-Star game? He was terrible. That was awful. Number 4. Everybody focus. Everybody look at me. If you're on the podcast, look at your radio or your phone. Look at me in the windows to my soul. And I want you to think about this. How much money would it take for you to do the hottie toddy cheer in public and have it recorded? Quit clapping your damn hands.
$2.
How much money would it take for you to do the hottie toddy cheer in public? I have a number. I'd like to see what you guys come up with. I have Don Rickles, Ryan Michael. Don Rickles might be the right answer too. He was hilarious. How much money would it take? People are getting out calculators right now. Richard Rife says $50,000. Ginger Tuck says none. She would not do it. Preston Smith, will it be filmed? Yes, it will. It will. Jim West says there's no money amount. Jay Hammer says there's no money amount. Jennifer Timpson says there's not enough money ever. Ashley Rowland says $1 million. Brian Seth says pay my light bill and I'll think about it. No money amount to say that, says Jane Lewis. Chad Mass says $250,000. Jason Neal Galt says no. Only if they stop doing it forevermore, that would be really taking a bullet for us. Thank you, D. Curtis. Lance Shane says $2 million. Things are tight, so 1,000, says Daniel Martin. I'll take what Tunsil got. Wow, that's a lot of money. That's probably the most money we've had since said here. $1 million, 100,000. Bo Smith says I'll pass. I would do it for $75,000.
That is insane.
I would do it for $75,000.
If I'll go to you tomorrow with a check for $50K to do this little whatever, you would not do it?
With the checks in your hand?
Yes.
I can see the check?
Yes. There's no way. You do it for probably $2,000.
I would not do it for $2,000. I would feel I'd feel bad doing it for $75,000.
What about $20,000? What if tomorrow I hand you a check?
You
for
hand me a check for $20,000.
Yes.
Can you raise $20,000 in this building?
Easy.
I'm not doing it on this show. No, I wouldn't do it for $20,000.
You would not.
$75,000.
No. Okay.
$75,000.
Okay.
Because you got to realize this, all this money you're paying to do the Hottie Toddy chair is basically going to go straight to recruits for Ole Miss. I mean, $75,000, that's a linebacker. And number 5, this gets asked probably every year when we start baseball season, but I always like the answer. I think it's an interesting question, and really you could just ask it any time of the year. Why am I doing this? What's going on?
I don't know. You do that a lot.
I do that a lot?
Kind of randomly throw your hand.
I just throw my hand. Okay.
Just keep it down.
All right. I'm doing the highest. Okay. Number 5. What would be your walk-up song? If you're batting third for the Maryland Terrapins, you'd probably never get to bat because they're so terrible. But what would be your walk-up song?
Huh. Right now, it would be. I feel like mine would change every couple so weeks.
Barry Knight said he would do it on my show for $75,000. Brandon McGarity, you got me. He says you'll do it for $1,000. You dressed and acted like one for free. Yes, I did. But that was funny. That was for humor. What would be your walk-up song? That's a very... I tend to, on the walk-up songs, go with the wrestling theme songs. Like, I would go with maybe Mr. Perfect song or something like that. I think wrestling walk-up songs really get it right as far as setting the mood. Don't Stop Believing from Ginger Tuck. Tom Sawyer by Rush from Guy Dawsett. Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix. Joe Goldman. Theme from The Natural, said somebody. Money by Pink Floyd. Charles Hunt. Put Me In, Coach. John Fogerty. Jim West. Wild Thing, says John McNeil. Walk This Way, says Tim Lee. Mac McBrayer goes with the Ric Flair theme. That's 2001 A Space Odyssey. The Lamb Chop theme song is the song that never ends, says Corey Dickey. Enter Sandman from Tim Franks. Here I Go by Mystical. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm like Terp. I would probably be that guy on the team. I would like to change mine every game. I want a different one every game.
I would absolutely do that.
Because I don't want to get stagnant. I want it every game. Because I can't decide, and we got 50 games, that means I get 50 walk-up songs. And, of course, one night if I go 0 for 4, that song's out. But if I go 4 for 4 with 3 home runs, that song might stay a couple days.
With that one.
Yeah. Time for the game, the Triple H song. That's a really good one. Thunder, Imagine Dragons. Brandon would walk up to Shawn Michaels' theme. I believe the name of that theme is Sexy Boy. Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. All right, that's good. That's a good place to finish. Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone.
That's enough of that.
Thanks. On the podcast, that is enough of that. Spoken perfectly by Terp. Had a good time today. Had Will Salmon. We talked basketball. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have somebody, and we'll talk something. Until next time, my name is Brandon Walker. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. That's the Shawn Michaels theme. Who said Bobby Roode theme? I saw it. I saw it for a second. Bobby Roode, Jason Neal Galt. You ever seen this? I know you don't watch. I don't really watch wrestling either, but I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Never seen it.
Look up Bobby Roode's theme song. It is incredible. It's incredible.
Landshark knows it apparently.
It is. It's the. If they put it on the radio, it would go to number 1. It's fantastic. Stan Riddle says, "See ya." I guess Stan's leaving. Thank you for being here, Stan. Since you can't hit, you would never have one, says Brandon McGarity. I actually know Brandon McGarity. He's from West Point. He was the 47th best baseball player in the 11 and 12-year-old in 1996. 47th best. Ole Miss is garbage, says Michael Clyburn. That really is apropos of nothing, but I will always accept it. Can't believe you would consider singing Hotty Toddy, shaking my head. Listen, I got 4 kids and a wife. If I could do something stupid and make $75,000, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I mean, look, I'm doing something stupid right now just to put money in the bank. Why are you shaking your head? Don't.
What?
I made you, Terp.
You didn't. I made you, son.
Undertaker's theme and walk up with a long black jacket and hat. I don't know if you can do all the costumes and everything. Hate to pour gasoline on the fire, but do you know why baseball fans can't purchase more replica MSU baseball gear? Seems next to impossible to get the same stuff the team wears. I'm just guessing that the apparel companies don't see money in college baseball. That's what I'm guessing. Now, could you make money selling college baseball gear at Mississippi State? Yeah, but you can't make it across the board. So that's my guess. That's my guess. I'm guessing Adidas, who makes jerseys for 50 teams, doesn't see the need to put out replica jerseys for baseball because they're not going to sell. Now, they'd sell in Starkville, but is it worth the investment? I don't know. That's just my guess. Jerry Clower, the best comedian. Jerry Clower was good, and I love Jerry Clower. He's one of us, right? But I can't, the best of all time, I can't put him there. He's very good, though. And sometimes you're just in a mood for Jerry Clower, and nothing else can work. Tim Franks would rather his sister work in a cat house than sing Hotty Toddy. Does your sister get a vote? That's a funny line, though. Andy Kennedy was disengaged Saturday night. Howland coached like he was down by 20. Also, you outkicked your coverage. Bill Hurt, that was needless at the end, but okay. Yeah, Andy Kennedy was done. You could tell. He's been done for a while. And in the media across this state right now, you got a lot of people saying Andy Kennedy was a great coach and, he deserved a better ending than this. Why? He wasn't a great coach. He was never a great coach. He was a decent coach in a time when SEC basketball was at an all-time low, and he still couldn't do anything. He couldn't accomplish anything. So now that SEC basketball is on the come-up again and everybody's getting serious about it, he was getting passed by superior coaches. So he's out. Now, will Ole Miss get a better coach? They might. They might not. Remember who's doing the hiring. They're not very good at that over there. Rodney Dangerfield was pretty funny. He was incredible. Rodney Dangerfield, for pure laughs, might be the funny. Like he is the guy that can make my sides hurt from laughing quicker than anybody. I say we need more Cowbell. I think we do too. Bobby Lauder says Kennedy is a very good coach and a very poor recruiter. He's not a very good coach. Very good coaches win basketball games. Very good coaches go to the tournament. Very good coaches make impacts in the tournament. He never did that. He's not a very good coach. Chris Rock has a new special on Netflix. Yeah, I got to see that. You got to watch it. I still haven't watched the new Dave Chappelle shows from last month. AK didn't like it because we put them in the cellar. It was a great way to usher back the state dominance over Ole Miss again in men's basketball. Jay Hammers, well said. Well said, sir. Can we figure out why SEC Country on Twitter had a pic of Schaefer at Texas A&M for the pick of winning the SEC championship? Even Vic replied to it. Yeah, just a mistake by one of our writers, one of our breaking news guys. It's since been fixed. Very simple. Austin McNeemer says, hey, I love Mississippi State. I do too. I love Mississippi State as much as I love my children. And if my wife is no longer watching, then I will tell the truth. I'm just kidding. He's a very good basketball mind. Sound better? No, he's not a very good at anything. I don't know why when a guy leaves for failing at his job, we have to act like he was a good coach. He was an okay coach. He was decent. He was average. He was a very average coach at a time when average got you wins in the SEC. Rhonda Roseberry Young says George Carlin was the best stand-up comedian. I can see that. I'm just so far removed from George Carlin's views of the world that I really don't really laugh at him very much. That's why I look down on George Carlin a little bit. Or that's why I don't give his comedy the credit. Ole Miss was fine with Kennedy until the Dogs started turning around this year, says Bob Giles. I think it's more than that. I think it's the entire SEC turning around. I mean, if you look around, Frank Martin, Bruce Pearl, Rick Barnes, Ben Howland, Andy Kennedy. I mean, you were going to get left in the dust. 22 wins should get us to the big dance. I don't think so. I think it's 23. I think 23 is the number. How much money keeps Schaefer and staff around? Just complete support of the program from the athletic department, I hope. I don't know if he would want to go to Texas A&M. I don't know that at all. He has built his own thing here. It's not a question that any of us can answer other than Vic Schaefer. Randy Kennedy was a better coach than Andy Kennedy, says Chad Mask. It wasn't like Ole Miss was making the tournament every year, but Kennedy was a hell of a coach if your ceiling was the NIT. When is Vic's contract up, and do you think Cohen will be able to retain him, says Ryan McMichael. I hope so. We have one of the 5 best coaches in the country. We need to keep it. If he left because we didn't give him enough money, that would be awful. That'd be the worst thing the state could do. I hope the only thing that would get him would be some sort of sentimentality or pull to Texas A&M, and even then, I hope that's not enough. Penny Hardaway is being mentioned by the school up north. Yeah, well, so John Gruden and Tony Dungy were mentioned for the head coaching job, and they gave it to an offensive line coach who's never done anything. So think about that. So good stuff. Good show today. Enjoyed it. The 2-minute drill seems to have carved out a niche here. I think people like it. I think people want to do it. Terp, you like the 2-minute drill a little bit better than today's top 5?
Yes.
You like it?
I can participate.
You can participate, yeah. Notice you don't always participate, though. You didn't really participate today.
What did I not participate in?
You did the appetizer.
Yep.
You didn't say which state player you'd want to wear a jersey of.
I said Fitz. I said Fitzy.
You didn't say your favorite stand-up comedian.
Jim Gaffigan. I like Jim Gaffigan.
There are...
to be honest, I've never watched a stand-up routine. I just heard him in the car one time and laughed.
I can't even with you. I can't even.
I answer everything else.
Have you scheduled Van to be on the show? I have not. I have not scheduled Van Studeman to be on the show. I will possibly do it. Junior Ray says Kermit Davis mentioned too. I think they're going to hire Steve Forbes. I think it'll be a good hire. Unless he holds out for Memphis. If Vic stays, he doesn't play second fiddle to any other sport. He's not playing second fiddle now. I think our fan base, the way it's bought in, I mean, they are getting the love they deserve. What's our baseball record by the time we open at home? I have no idea. None whatsoever. We open March 6th, right? I think we got 18. Is it 18 games on the road? 12 games? I don't even know. Poor. Can you get Richard Williams back on the show with the turnaround of the season since he was last on? I tried a couple of weeks ago and he had the surgery. Was he back doing the game on Saturday? Was he back doing the game? Because I know he took a couple of weeks off because of surgery. If he's back, then I'll reach out to him. Hot Pocket. Somebody just says Hot Pocket. I don't even know what the...
Jim Gaffigan.
What about it?
It's part of his...
He has a Hot Pocket routine?
Yeah, you probably like it.
Jim Gaffigan. Like, of all the comedians in the world...
Like I said, I've never watched a stand-up routine, really.
Jim Gaffigan is like the you of stand-up comedy.
So he's like the best.
No.
He's the GOAT.
No. Just as average white guy as you can be. And Land Shark's got her tick. Okay. Oh, it's 12:35. I'm hungry, too. Good. We need to go ahead and stop there.
What's for lunch today?
I have no idea. I'm probably going to go to Cox. Why do you always laugh? That's what the name of the building is.
It's rainy out. Where are you going to walk over there?
I'm going to drive over there. Oh. Anything else?
What's your walk-up song? I don't think you ever answered. Today.
I'll come up with, I don't know, later. Anyway, Thank you for listening or watching. We'll be back tomorrow, 10:45, to talk about, Mississippi State sports. That's what we talk about here, right? Until next time, my name is Brandon Walker. Just want to do that.
Whoa there.
I don't know why I do that. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.